Thank you, Mr. Joseph. I want to start by also extending my condolences to the families of those who have lost, especially to the families of the children that we have lost. In times of disaster, it is very, very important that we get back to normalcy as soon as possible. And therefore, as you heard this morning from our permanent secretary and the assistant chief education officer, the Ministry of Education is working very hard to get as many schools as possible to open within the quickest possible time. I'm going to just share with you, because you heard a lot, as I said, from my permanent secretary and assistant chief education officer. So what I would like to share with you, two things. One, to do with tips for parents as your children are out of school at this point in time, and also what the Ministry of Education is going to do about psychosocial recovery. For the parents, there are three things that I really want you to know. Four things. One, know where your children are at all times. It is very, very important, especially those of you who are in the shelters. Please avoid any action that will create a problem for you later on that may lead to any form of child abuse. So we are asking you, very, very importantly, to know where your children are at all times and ensure that they have some level of supervision. We also want you to find some time for your children to do some schoolwork. We know that books are damaged, gone wet, materials are also gone, but you can get them to talk about their experiences in the form of stories. That way they are expressing themselves as well as using language, and at the same time experiencing some psychosocial support, which they will need to help them get over the trauma that they have experienced during Hurricane Maria. So please get them to tell stories. If you do not have any books for them to do some schoolwork, go back to the old-time ways of doing things, and again have them supervised at all times. And the last one I'll give you at this time is that as school reopens, do not allow time to be wasted. The school day will be shorter to begin with, and therefore you will need to help them at home as much as possible. In your neighborhood or within the shelters, you can form study groups with the older students helping the younger ones as they continue. And when we do get back to normalcy, then you can see how things can be changed. But right now, as Mr. Joseph said, it is helping each other, yes, to get back to some form of normalcy, and so that we don't lose out too much when things get back to normal. So finally, in terms of the tip, and this is the most important one, know where your children are at all times and ensure that they are supervised so that nothing bad happens to them, because we know at times like these all kinds of strange things can happen. In terms of psychosocial recovery, the Ministry of Education is arranging for our staff to be debriefed, because we know that a lot of our staff, those who are working within the Ministry of Education, our teachers, they lost a lot. They lost their homes. They went through a very traumatic time. And if we want them to work with our children, then we also need to provide them with some support. So we are putting the mechanisms in place to ensure that they get the support starting this week. We are also working with UNICEF to provide psychosocial support to our children. And so this week, with UNICEF support, we will be doing some training for our teachers, so that as we open schools on a phased basis, our teachers will be providing psychosocial support at the beginning of school for our students. So we are making sure that teachers and students are taken care of. And all of that will be happening between this week and next week. I want to thank these organizations, UNICEF particularly, and we also had Child Fund here last week, seeing how they can assist in providing us with the support that you are. I know UNICEF will be providing us with some tents and kits, school in a box kits, because a lot of our schools are uncovered and all the materials are swimming in water and everything like that. So they will be providing us with school in a box that will be for 40 students to one teacher, kids for the early childhood section, and also recreational kits. So we want to thank them for that, and also for the support with the Return to Happiness psychosocial recovery. CIDIMA, I know, is helping us with school assessments, and UN architects, also those from France. So we also want to thank them for their services and all those who are assisting us. I guess at a later date we'll have the full list and be able to thank them. So I just want to now reiterate some things that were said before and mention to our staff, and I hope they are listening. Those that we can get to, we'll get to, but those who are not accessible at this time, I hope you can get the message. There will be a general staff meeting tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. at the Newtown Primary School. So we expect to see as many of you as possible. And once again, all teachers are expected to report to their schools tomorrow morning, and from then on every day, and help with the cleanup and the reporting and the assessments, because principals are expected to come in with a written report of an assessment of their schools. And our principals to come to the Newtown Primary School at 10 a.m. on Wednesday for, again, a debriefing and a meeting on the way forward. I think that's about it. We have said a lot this morning, and I just wish, all Dominicans that we really this time put our heads together and see how we can quickly get Dominica back to Dominica and even being a better Dominican. Dominica, thank you very much.